Hayden said, why don't you string some sentences together without using the word like? Like, fuck off, Keanu.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Legs, and I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. Today, we are going to be talking about Big Brother. We're going to be talking about our feeds from the 20th and a little piece of the 21st in the morning. So strap on in, let's get into it. We had a lot of game talk. We had more fights. More fights. We had the same fight yet again. We had some people turning on each other. Some people realizing, these aren't the people that I might want to work with. And lastly, we are also going to touch on the TV episode. I have a little bit to say. So let's jump into this recap. Let's jump in. It shouldn't be here for long. So I want to touch on the television show real quick. This was the HOH episode. So we did see the mastermind break in during the night and he steals 3 powers and the HOH key. We do see the competition as one of those competitions that they do in the dark. They're in a tunnel and they basically have to find 4 different pieces that are up for grabs, 3 of which are powers and 1 of which is the HOH key. And they have to place it in the correctly shaped area for whatever they picked up. So one thing of note that I thought was kind of funny was Ava during this competition. Ava was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. I also thought it was interesting because we saw obviously that the winner was Jimmy, and Jimmy was standing right next to the podium or whatever for Kelly's piece. And we heard Jimmy on the feed say, oh yeah, I was standing right there. I know she has it. I know she has it. What we didn't know is that Jimmy actually helped her put the piece in. I thought that was very interesting. Lastly, we also know that Zach is aware that Mickey has a power as well. I don't know, maybe that was mentioned more in depth on the feeds. I will be honest. Zach conversations, you know. So that might have been mentioned, but we also know for sure that Zach knows that Mickey has a piece. So anyways, of course, the 3 winners, well, our first winner of HOH was Jimmy, then Mickey, Keanu, and Kelly have powers. So we do also see the nomination ceremony, and I thought the nomination ceremony was pretty funny because Keanu goes up, him and Jimmy have a little bit of a back and forth again, and then he starts snoring, and I'm not sure if that was an inserted clip or if he genuinely made the snoring noise. And then Rachel was laughing, which I thought was pretty funny. But that's all I really have to note from the episode. So let's jump into the actual feed recap. So we start off our morning with Rachel and Amy.
He won't though. I mean, honestly, why would he even put up Will? It makes no sense. So stupid.
And one thing to note is that a lot of yesterday was spent by people realizing what is Jimmy doing. In particular, the girls, Morgan, Mickey, Amy, Rachel, all of them were sort of like, what is Jimmy doing? What is the intention of him wanting to get out? Who he wants to get out? Why are we even getting Will out? So Amy and Rachel, they start off in the morning and Rachel is like, look, here's my advice for you. You need to make sure that Jimmy knows that you are always a vote for their side. Make sure that he knows that you're always going to vote with them. You're always going to be with them. He loves his puppy dogs, okay? He loves his golden retrievers. He loves people that are going to stick with him, so you got to start basically kissing his butt. I know it's annoying. I know it's frustrating, but that is what you're going to have to do so Jimmy knows that you are safe. You're not a liability. He's going to want to keep you around. Morgan, Mickey, and Rachel also have a very similar conversation.
Can't vote for them. Adrian's always gonna, if he ever wins, he's not gonna, like, keep us safe. And I was like,
and Rachel is basically discussing how she told Jimmy, look, you do realize that Adrian is always going to be a vote for their side, correct? So why would you want to keep Adrian around? Amy is going to want to vote with you guys. So Rachel's already laying those stones. And I'll be honest, I don't understand the purpose of getting out either Amy or Will because neither one of them has proven to be any kind of strong competitor. I do think that Adrian has come in second in every single competition, which is this close to first. I mean, let's be honest, Adrian would have probably won that veto had Casey not been in the house. Casey the comp beast. So I just feel like I kind of get it. Obviously, of course, they're trying to benefit their side, but at the same time, it does seem like a waste of an HOH yet again. While this is all happening, Reilly decides he's going to check in with Jimmy. He decides he's going to have his 5 minutes of game talk that he has a week.
Okay, cool. Because I'm just trying to make sure that no matter, like, if I'm on the block on eviction night, I have the numbers to stay. At least.
Fuck, Jimmy, you got my fucking vote to the very end, brother.
Okay, cool. I talk.
No shade. But basically, Riley's like, you know I'm always with you, right? You know I got you, right? You know I'm cool. We're cool, right? I got your vote, right? I have your vote no matter what, right? And Jimmy's like, yeah, like, we're an alliance together. I just want to remind you, I want to work with you. We're in an alliance. There's no need to worry. They just have this conversation where they both verify that they're with one another, even though they're in the heavy hitters. I don't know. It was just a weird conversation. I feel like a lot of people are randomly starting to get paranoid because they really don't talk game and they realize, oh goodness, am I actually as safe as I think I am? Morgan is activated today and she is talking with Rachel, and Morgan is essentially like, look, I want to keep Ashley because Ashley is another person that a lot of people sort of have her name buzzing around. She's not directly in danger, maybe particularly this week, but again, people like Catherine, they have not really been feeling Ashley, and they've definitely been talking about her quite a bit. So Morgan is like, I want to keep Ashley. I like Ashley. I want her there. And the girls, Mickey, Rachel, they also end up talking about how they want to keep Ashley around. She's a nice girl. There's no real reason that they want to take her out. Yeah, she might say the wrong things sometimes. She might be a little misunderstood, but she is a nice person. And obviously she is also a number for their side. So they start to discuss whether they think the jury will be 7 people or 9 people. And they get into how they actually might potentially want to strike up an alliance with KEANU. At this point, a lot of this conversation is led by Morgan. I will say that. Rachel is more so just sitting and listening. But Morgan does talk about how she potentially wants to strike up an alliance with KEANU, have him be the one that protects them. But she doesn't want to actually have to strike it up. She wants KEANU to be the one to strike it up. And they do want to bring this all to Mickey as well to let her know what's going on. So for Morgan, she is definitely starting to realize that she is definitely not as close to Jimmy as she thought. And again, this is going to be a huge trend throughout the day that a lot of the girls are just seeing that we might not be in Jimmy's alliance the way we thought we were. Vinny and Mickey have a brief conversation. I feel like Vinny's one of those people that people randomly kind of want to keep close to them. I think Vinny's more so middle ground, and a lot of the girls do still feel particularly close-ish to him. So Mickey and Vinny do have a conversation and they discuss Will again, because remember, the thought is that Will is lying about a power, and that's why Jimmy wants to put him up. Now Mickey says, look, Will does not have the power, okay? I talked to him. Little do they know that it's actually Mickey that has that power. So she knows for a fact that it's not Will. But overall, she does not want Will to go home. They both do not want Will to go home. And overall, the two of them just confirm that they still feel good with one another and are cool with each other in this house. So Rachel and KEANU. So Vinny and Mickey were actually having a conversation, and as this happened, they literally see Rachel go and storm in the house, sort of slam the door, and it's like, what in the world happened? We flash over to the camera with Rachel.
But I'm fine. That's why I came up here. And I'm chill.
And we hear Rachel having a cam talk with herself. And essentially what happened is that KEANU clearly watched a compilation video of Big Brother moments. And he discusses how in her season, a lot of people didn't really like her. He talks something about, I believe, the fight with Reagan that she had. And so Rachel got really, really upset by that, essentially feeling that KEANU was trying to get under her skin on purpose. He made a statement such as, everyone hated you your season. And again, this just plays back into the lack of filter that KEANU really has. I feel like KEANU constantly says things to get under Rachel's skin, and there's a part of me that does kind of believe that he's sort of doing it just to grate her gears, just to do it a little bit on purpose. I feel like KEANU is constantly saying things, and he's constantly fighting with people, and he's constantly offending people, and then he has to go around the house and do an apology tour, and it's like, think about what you say before you say it. Why would you think that you could go up to somebody and say, well, everyone hated you your season? So Rachel's cam talking, and of course she's irritated. She walks away because what actually is the purpose of KEANU saying that? Meanwhile, KEANU's outside.
I'm gonna go back to how I was yesterday. I'm gonna just be by myself the whole damn day, bro. Yeah, I'm gonna be by myself the whole damn day, dog.
And he's like, oh my God, every day there's something to do with me. Every day I'm in something. I was just talking about her moments. I was just talking about what I saw every day. And that's the annoying part about KEANU. I hate the sort of, I'm going to throw my hands up and play the victim mentality. I really, really cannot stand that either. I think that KEANU is trying. He's trying really hard to sort of make Rachel look like a villain. Because, oh, she's a returning player. That's just my energy. That's what I get when I see a lot of these KEANU scenes with Rachel. Because he's always throwing his hands up like, oh my goodness, every day something happens. Every day something goes on. And I'm like, KEANU, no, please. You say stuff that is purposely antagonizing her. So KEANU goes inside.
Without saying the word like. And you pointed out the fact that Reagan came at me. So what are you trying to do, KEANU?
Oh,
You want to fuck with me? Game on,
KEANU.
KEANU.
Rachel, I'm not fucking with you.
And Rachel at this point is like, look, every time you say these things to me, if you want to go to war with me, KEANU, let's go to war. Let's do it. KEANU's like, what? What are you talking about? What? Rachel, what are you even talking about? She's like, look, you keep saying these things to me and it's very clear. If you feel some type of way, KEANU, let's go. Let's do it then. And again, I'm sorry, I cannot stand people who do this, what KEANU's doing. For me personally, I find that very irritating in real life. People who play the victim, they act bewildered. They know what they're doing. They know they're antagonizing people. It's like read the room. Even if you didn't understand the first time, you've done this now 3 times. You and Rachel have had back and forths like 3 times. And Rachel's not the only person that you've offended in this house, KEANU. Have some self-reflection to realize the way you're talking to people is really bothering them. He's like, I don't get it. I don't know what you're talking about. She's like, if you want to go to war, let's go to war. And they split off and quite a considerable amount of time passes. There's some other little conversations that happen. The TV show came on during this period, but we do actually return to KEANU and Rachel talking again a little bit later. So they start off this conversation sort of hugging it out, but then they get back into the nitty gritty of it again. And they start to talk about how KEANU's not trustworthy to Rachel. KEANU starts to pretend that he doesn't understand why he's not trustworthy. Then they jump back into KEANU breaking her trust. KEANU goes back into again why he doesn't understand why that happened in the first place. Rachel ultimately says, look, I don't understand why you can't see me for who I am. I don't understand why you have to bring up my worst moments and realize that Rachel was from 15 years ago. This is a new Rachel. So why can't you see me for the person I actually am? Rachel at one point even starts to cry because so many people on her season did not like her. She talks about how they would point at her and nobody really was a fan of her. So for her, it's a very emotional moment. KEANU is sort of like, oh, I mean, I didn't mean to bring up those feelings that really like trigger you. I didn't know. And it's like, I don't know. KEANU, it's no secret. If you watch my recaps, you know KEANU irritates me to no end. People like KEANU that act aloof and just have no idea what planet they're even on, it feels like. To me, I find that to be very irritating. But eventually the two of them do sort of come to a middle ground again. It's very clear that Rachel does not believe him. And she does actually even proceed to go to Jimmy and be like, I don't believe him. He apologized. I don't believe him. He said he didn't mean to. It wasn't out of malice. I'm not believing any of that. So again, KEANU shoots himself in the foot yet again. He's safe this week. He's safe this week. But I think that KEANU needs to be very, very careful because he's constantly having to put his foot in his mouth. It's too much. Rachel, Mickey, and Morgan have a pretty long conversation in Jimmy's HOH room as he is not there.
According to him, I talked to KEANU this morning. We were in the gym. And he says that if he went up next week, he still wouldn't put Jimmy in.
They get into a variety of different topics. First one being Jimmy's targets for the week. And again, why does it even make sense for him to want to target Will? They're so puzzled. They're so very confused about that whole thing. They jump a little bit onto KEANU and why KEANU is constantly fighting with people and then making up with them. Constantly fighting, then making up. Morgan is just about fed up. Morgan is really one of the first ones to say, I'm gonna be honest, I don't want to play play Jimmy's game. I don't want to do what Jimmy wants to do because what he's doing does not really line up with what's best for me. And Rachel and Mickey are definitely seeing where she is coming from. Again, Jimmy is somebody who makes a lot of lofty promises to a lot of different people. I think when you're sitting in front of Jimmy, he acts like you are his number one ally and he sees everything you're saying. But meanwhile, he kind of just messily does a bunch of things that irritate different people. And a lot of his moves don't make sense because he's allied with so many people in the house that he has to sort of target random people that don't actually logically make sense together. Like, why are you targeting Will? Because Will is not one of your 10 allies. That's the reality. And I think it is messy, sloppy gameplay that, again, if you put 2 and 2 together and look at the Big Brother house, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. So Rachel does say that she is pretty convinced that Will is not going to go home, but she is unsure of what those 20-year-olds are thinking. And she keeps referring to, I'm guessing, Catherine, Lauren, sort of that group, Zach, as those 20-year-olds. And I just thought it was super funny during that conversation. But overall, Morgan does, again, want to protect Ashley and Amy because she feels like they are good. They are numbers for them. They are on their side. And at this point, she also feels like Ashley is super misunderstood. And they get into how Jimmy likely is going to come for Ashley next because, again, it's another easy target. It's another random person that's not one of his 10 allies. So they're just starting to realize with Jimmy that he's not really an ally to them as much as they feel that he is. Because ultimately, Jimmy is just looking at who are the 5 or 6 people that I'm not with. Not rationally looking at who is a target, who is somebody that actually has chances to win things. So they jump onto Catherine and how they hate how badly Catherine has been talking about Ashley. As I said, Ashley's been really irritating Catherine, and Catherine has had a lot to say, and these little things have been going on. For Morgan and Mickey, they are quite irritated with Catherine right now, and it's just been a lot of the little things that she's been doing that have been mounting up and sort of starting to irritate the two of them. So at this point, Rachel also agrees, right? She doesn't like it when they talk bad about Ashley. She actually thinks she's a really nice girl, as I said earlier. So they really realize that, we need to really start to take a stand and figure out how we are going to get ourselves united together. So they start to talk about numbers, and they do feel that if it's Adrian versus Amy, they do have the numbers. If anyone at this point sits next to Adrian, though, they feel like that person would likely be going home. So Rachel does point out how they do have to play nice with Lauren and Catherine because they do actually need their votes to keep Amy. But at this point, they cannot let Jimmy know they are as close as they actually are. He has to feel like he is all of their number one. So again, the operation, let's start to take down Jimmy, is beginning. And again, I predicted this. Because a player like Jimmy can start off in a good spot, but it's like you're putting too much on your plate. You're putting way too much on your. So Catherine, Jimmy, and Lauren also have a later night conversation. And at this point, Jimmy is saying he wants to get rid of Adrian. He says that Adrian is doing so well at comms and it is time to get rid of him. Well, little do you know, you might be a little bit blindsided. Now for Kat, she actually does not want for, Amy, to get to jury because she feels like Amy is going to be like Victoria or like Angela last season and just coast along to Final 3. And I'm like, tell me you don't know the show without saying you don't know the show. Angela did not coast the Final 3. Angela pulled her wins out. I don't know why everybody is always talking about Angela as if Angela did not pull out those W's. That's just my take. But okay, Catherine. So Morgan joins the conversation. And at this point, as you know, Morgan has been talking with Rachel, been talking with Mickey, so she's going to come and sort of give her little piece to them. Now, Morgan says, look, I do not want to get Will out. I feel like Kelly is not going to win the competition. I feel like that idea is a really, really not the best idea for really any of us. Morgan does eventually end up leaving. She kind of pleads her case for that, and they kind of listen to her. And of course, you know, they all kind of are like, yeah, sure. But at this point, Jimmy, Kat, and Lauren, they're not really feeling, they're not feeling Morgan. They're not feeling Morgan. They feel like Morgan tends to steamroll over conversation. She doesn't really give them a chance to talk. And you could definitely tell there's sort of a bitter taste in their mouths when it comes to talking with Morgan. They also are starting to feel like she might not be the most trustworthy. But that is sort of where we end off our night. And again, Operation Takedown Jimmy is in full steam. So if you made it to this point of the video, that means you liked the video. So I would greatly appreciate if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys in my next one. Bye!